The rules of procedure are posted in the town hall and available for everyone to review.
Thank you.
Okay. Wow. Sorry. Hello, welcome everybody. So, one sec. All right. So members in attendance tonight, we have Bob Jones, Mike Beecher, Jessica Van Ort, and Rich Hewlett. I think that Perry might be joining us through Zoom, but I don't see Perry yet. Many folks are here on Zoom, so welcome everybody on Zoom, and a lot of folks here in the audience. So everybody who's here in person, just please make sure that you sign in on the sign-in sheet at the back table. Everybody in Zoom, I think I've got everybody. Thank you. If you don't have a full name, hello. If you don't have a full name, please do add your full name for the minute purposes. Anybody who would wish to speak tonight can address comments to the chair, who is Mike Beecher, and I think that's it. Oh, I'm Kristen, and welcome. That's all. Additions or deletions tonight. So one addition, I would request that we have an executive session to discuss labor relations agreements with employees. We've had some applicants for the highway department that I'd like to discuss, and then one deletion, the signing of the grant agreement. So there was an email that came in, but before we do that, I'd just like to get a little bit more information, so that we can delete. Did anybody else have anything?
I've got a few updates, but I think they all will fit under either old or new business.
And the minutes that need approval, so the regular minutes from January 23rd, 2024, and then I did email around the draft minutes from last week, but I just did that. Jessica, I know, was able to review them, but I just did it earlier this evening, so I will put that down for official approval at our next meeting, unless you've all read them. But that would be a beautiful thing, but I wouldn't expect it because it just happened. So just the minutes from the 23rd.
All right, I'll move that we approve the minutes from the 23rd.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I'm just going to commend Kristen on your pithy statements about, you summarize well what people said. You're like, they spoke to this, this, and this. You're like,
thank you. Stay tuned. Soon you'll all get to read them as well. I tried to keep it.
Nothing pre-requested?
No.
Any announcements?
Nothing from me, no.
Nancy Morlino, Zoning Administrator.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I have only one item to report on, and that is that the DRB met on January 24th and approved a variance for a garage construction.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for the Zoning Administrator? Thank you very much, Nancy. Have a good evening.
Thank you, you as well.
Planning Commission?
no report this time.
No report this one, okay. Road Foreman.
So Rick Lawrence shared a report earlier today, and so the Highway Department has graded and graveled several roads. They've been stockpiling gravel for summer projects. They've been continuing tree trimming and removal, which will be an ongoing project. They are performing repairs and maintenance on town equipment as needed. They've installed the school zone signs that were discussed at a prior meeting, and they continue to perform winter maintenance as the weather requires.
Sounds good.
Additionally, from the Highway Department, so at the last meeting, we discussed the concept of putting together a group to discuss the construction of the new town garage. So Frank had mentioned the concept of this group and having it, you know, having the open meeting law apply to it, etc. So I did reach out to the VLCT on that just to make sure that we were heading in the right direction. And so just to confirm here, and it'll be in the minutes as well, but so there are 3 individuals in the community that have offered to volunteer their expertise in the information gathering and construction kind of information gathering of municipal buildings and general sort of municipal spaces. So the board is not creating a group or a subgroup or a commission or a committee or a board. The board is not creating anything, but rather we are accepting the guidance and expertise from 3 individuals of the community who are offering to provide some input and assist in doing some legwork in helping us to gather information. So that's the story on that. So the 3 folks that have expressed interest in doing this are still excited about it, but they'll be kind of working on their own to gather some information. They'll be providing reports or submitting requests to the board, which the board can review in an open meeting. And then the board is welcome to sort of give direction, but they won't be meeting as a formal group, and nor is the board doing any sort of appointing.
And all this information was given to you from the VLCT, so to provide
Yes. Yeah. And so
transparency.
Yes. Yep. So it's, you know, it's incredibly transparent. And so no, these individuals will not be making any decisions on behalf of the town. They just are offering their insights because several of them have had experiences in this realm.
There's so much letting.
Okay.
Frank, did you have your hand up?
Frank, you have
So really, they're acting as advisors, not part of any meeting. Or
Yep, that's what she said. Yep.
Not as an agent or of any kind.
That's correct.
Okay. Anything else for the road foreman's report? If we worked at all at coming up with a plan on what roads we want to redo this summer, you know, like Slate or anything like that, or?
Yeah, we have been. We haven't, decided on anything yet, but yeah.
I'm taking note of the ones, because I got a resident was asking me about Sawmill Road, and I didn't know if that had been much considered about that or not, but it's
That's not in the top 5.
it's not in the top 5 right now. I assured her that with 27 miles of dirt road, every
Yeah.
road can't get done in the,
There's some
in the
heavily
short.
traveled ones that are in rough shape.
Yeah, so, okay. Well, we work our way down. I assured them
Yeah, no, it's on the list,
that
for sure.
it all goes. Thank you. Anything else for the road? Okay. Assessor's report.
So there's no report, but there was the tax map maintenance proposal that came in. So this came from Karen.
That sure did.
And then I wanted to pull up, because I thought that we also got the draft from Tyler.
I don't remember seeing the draft from Tyler.
Something came in.
Yeah. I saw either.
And this is for the people we use to maintain the tax map.
Right. Yeah, the CAI
Yeah, I
associate.
think it's the same ones we always use.
Oh, that's what
Right.
it was.
This, we've been in contract with them for many years. Do you know if this went up at all much or not? Or?
I don't know what it was
Yeah.
last year, off the top of my head, no.
Sure. Do I have piles of old budget papers here that we might be able to find it in? I'll dig deeper. Was it somewhere in there?
It would be the software. It might not be its own separate thing. Let me have a quick look. I'll see if I can find it.
Looks like would that be this one? Maintain town records?
No, I don't
No,
think so.
it's probably under assessor. It probably fits into that large amount, and so we don't know exactly how much it was.
Let's see.
Yeah, I don't think it's laid out as a line item. It would be under assessor here, and that it covers multiple things.
All right. Well, we need it. It's,
Yeah.
it's very important. So keep our records in order and keep all the updates on, and we seem to be having satisfactory service from them. And I don't even know how much other people there is that do that job, honestly. So I guess we need to have a motion to approve this.
All right, I'll move that what's this called? We approve the tax map maintenance contract with CAI Technologies.
I'll second that.
And she'll pay $2,250 for the map GIS maintenance services under the contract. And then there's additionals for options that occur. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Town clerk's memo.
Yeah, I only have the two applications from Department of Liquor and Lottery that need to be approved tonight, and for Bob, 2 of the fleet overweight permits.
Town report going to printer tomorrow. Nice.
Actually, I just sent it about a couple hours ago digitally.
Thank you.
So it is at the printer now.
There's the information on those 2 licenses.
Oh, and Jessica, were you going to mention anything about PEG TV coming today?
Yeah, I can. So Deb and I met today. Was it Tom we met with?
Yes.
We met with Tom from PEG TV because they got a grant to install permanent installation so that our PEG TV filmographer won't have to schlep the stuff in and out every single time. And so Deb and I just went over some logistics about where it might be good and appropriate to put cameras and how they might run them, and where we might put the little desk with the control board. So we went over them with that. They think that, so this stuff has already been installed in several places, mostly around Rutland, I think, is where they've installed some permanent cameras. So this will make it much easier for the folks who come to film us. And then we'll even be able to use it if we want to film any other meetings that PEG TV doesn't come for. We will have the capability to do that. And they're thinking it will probably be installed by summer. So it's going to move along pretty quickly.
Frank?
I talked to Julie and she said about a second monitor, bringing in a second monitor, so it needs the select board to watch and the audience to watch with 2 different angles.
Yeah, they asked me if we would be interested in the second monitor. I remember we talked about that at a previous meeting, that it's tricky with this monitor here for the select board and the folks in the audience to see it. And Tom suggested that they might be able to just with this grant get us a second monitor, and they could even put it on this same one so that we could set it up in such a way that it could be seen from both directions. And I thought that would be helpful, since my feeling was that to have another one of these carts would kind of get in the way, but if it was on the same one and we just set it up in such a way, that might work.
I don't know that this can handle the weight. It's a little...
If not, they can probably bring in a new cart and set it up like right next to this
we
one.
might have a situation with
Yep.
2, but definitely would be
Sounds
nice.
like they're professionals who know what they're doing, so,
Yeah.
and just, yeah. But
All right, that's great. Thank you for that update. So somebody want to make a motion for these 2 applications? Guess we got to do them one at a time, I believe, right?
I'm not sure that it matters whether
No, we have to make note of them, but we can't approve them if anything.
Go ahead, make it.
I'll make a motion that we approve the application for sale of alcohol on one particular date for Max Market on February 17th. And
36383 is the application number.
and an application for Apollo Industries for the sale of tobacco products, application 36269. Renewal of their annual permit.
Do I have a
I'll
second?
second that.
Okay. So we have the application for the two state permits. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Yep.
Town treasurer's memo.
Okay. I don't think Julie is here. But I can read that. Hold on just one sec. Bob, did you sign the excess weight permits?
Yeah,
Yes.
well, I did one, the other one I have an issue with, so
Okay, so you signed one?
the other one, we need to contact them if they want to change some numbers on it, it's not correct.
So the treasurer's memo, there are 3 warrants this week. Payroll is $12,193. Accounts payable is $32,870.12. General fund monies are $26,080.72. Highway fund monies $16,414.62. And the wastewater fund monies are $2,567.78. Tax payments continued to keep Julie busy, and a reminder that taxes are due by February 12th at 4 p.m. We still have not heard anything about the Vermont Municipal Equipment Loan application. Berkshire is ready to close, and we are approaching the deadline with them where we would have to reapply. I do not know where current rates are. I have reached out to the bank. They said they would like to be near the quote, but they can't guarantee the rate if we need to reapply. Respectfully submitted, Julie Mack. So there are 3 motions that are made tonight. Payroll warrant 24039 for 81026. Payroll warrant 24041 for 11,382.74. And accounts payable warrant 24042 for $32,870.12.
Well, I'll go ahead and move that we approve those 3 warrants, 24039, 24041, and 24042.
Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
What do we want to do about that loan? Last time I talked to Julie about it, she said that she wasn't sure that it was really a big deal if we were going to have to reapply with Berkshire. It would probably be very similar to the rate that we have right now. I mean, unless the prime rate goes up or down. I don't know if we apply for, if we like close on the loan now. We don't have the truck yet, so I don't know if now is a good time to close on the loan or just wait till we actually have to pay for the truck.
Yeah, and it's been like pulling teeth to get an answer out of these guys.
Yeah, maybe we should hold off.
Yeah, I think so. I can reach out with them to them tomorrow and see if if we can get a hard date. Maybe we can get a VIN number at least.
We still haven't got the VIN number? I thought we needed that for the loan.
Oh, there was
Okay.
Julie got me on that.
Okay.
Another thing I want to bring up too before I did forget in regards to the Foreman's report. With the foreman potentially not living in town, half hour away, wherever the case may be, I think it would be important to have a couple of cameras in a couple of different spots around town. Like maybe on this building, shining out on the road, and then in West Pawlet, you know, on the sewer plant. Just so that, I mean, because it could be snowing, whatever, here, sleeting, half hour away, it's not. So if they're getting up at 2 in the morning, it'd be nice to, you know, they could look in the camera at least, other than drive here. You know, there's one here now. Can you see the road? Does it? You can see if it's snowing, and it'd be nice too if we could get one that had the temperature on it as well. I'm sure that that's a possibility. And I don't know anything about, you know, what's available, but I think that that would be important because that's what we're looking at.
You know, Brad might be able to give you some good input on that. Brad Tyler.
Oh, okay.
I-
He works with cameras? I think
Well, I don't know if he doesn't have that security system anymore, but he used to do a lot of it, so he could at least be a valuable as far as what's available that he's aware of and stuff.
I think it'd be very helpful. And sometimes it's, you know, snowing over in West Pawlet and it's not here. If you had a camera on the road with the temperature, you know, I think that'd be pretty key for those guys.
I have a note to check with the IT guy at work because we have several cameras outside. I just haven't been able to connect with him, but I'll see what he can offer for input too. So
Then if you got 3 guys working for the road crew, you know, and they're at home at midnight, all 3 of them could be looking at it and then talking amongst one another too. So
to get it set up right, it's easily done off my iPhone.
yeah, we have cameras, and you can, I mean, you can see really well,
right,
what it's doing out there.
You could potentially put it on the website too, on the town website, and it could be like a live stream, kind of like at a ski resort. You know, you could see what the conditions are. You're like, well, don't want to go out yet.
Everybody could report to the crew.
Yeah, everybody.
It's snowing.
So sorry, you missed a spot on School Street. If you could please go back there, that would be
That's a
great.
great idea. I'll try and get some more information for.
I made a note too to reach out to Brad.
You can look around. I'm sure it's out there. No doubt it would be very beneficial for us.
And we have a couple of good spots to put it as well,
Right.
like right on the road. So.
Right.
And then back to the truck bit, I made a note too to reach back out and see what information we might be able to get from the creators of the new truck and see what we can find to move forward with that. But it seems like there's not really much that can be done until we have more information, right?
Okay. Emergency management. Anything from Bob?
I don't think Bob is here, but he did submit a report. So in January, Bob Morlino attended the State Emergency Response Commission meeting, the Homeland Security Working Group meeting, and the Local Emergency Management Planning Committee meeting. Jackie Becker and Bob Morlino attended a tabletop exercise in Rutland sponsored by Vermont Emergency Management and the Rutland Regional Planning Commission. And paperwork for reimbursement of $8,000 for the consultant work on the hazard mitigation plan has been submitted to Vermont Emergency Management.
It's all good then. Okay. Health officers report. I don't see Jennifer up there tonight.
So, different Jennifer's here. I don't think there's anything tonight.
Jennifer. Wastewater treatment. We were fortunate to get 2 local people to work to do the daily checks. So that seems like it's going to be working out all right. Maybe right, both of them are right there in the village, and
Oh, that's great.
yeah, so that seems to be going all right now. And we got 1 pump motor that we got to replace, and we just got the pump motor just came in. So Jill's husband, I believe, will replace that. We replaced one last year or something, the other one last year. So. And that's about all that I know. that's really changed from the other items that's going on. Facilities report. Anybody have anything to offer on the facilities? I've reached out to Jake about the two heaters, the one in the evaporator that goes for upstairs here, and the heater in the sewer plant, and he's got them on his list. He just hasn't given me a tentative dates for them yet. So. What did I got for that? Mettawee School. Nothing. Old or unfinished business.
I've got an update about the bike ped grant, the one for the sidewalks and crosswalks. So we had rejected the overly large amount by number 2 on the list. And so we were going to move on to the number 3 on the list. Well, they didn't want to put in a proposal. So either they're too busy or they just didn't feel like doing it. So what that means is that we're not done yet. We just have to move on from the at the ready process. So what Stephanie and I will be doing will be putting out a request, not for proposals, but for qualifications. And then any firms that are going to want to bid will send us the qualifications, and we'll just go through those, and we'll have to order them, and then we can ask those firms. So we're just taking a little longer than it might have, but if we need to, we're pretty certain we could get an extension on the grant timing because it's taking longer to find a firm.
Frank?
Seems to me that the big cost difference was the fact that they would have to test the bridge. And if it could work both ways to see if you want to abandon that part of it and do that at some other date, then get it all done without that bridge testing and that stuff.
Yeah. Looking back at the first proposal that we got, they were willing, they could knock $20,000 off of it by not testing the bridge. And at that time, even with that $20,000 knocked off of it, it still didn't quite come in at what we wanted it to be. Personally, looking back at it now, if I'd known what I know now, might have wanted to go with that first bid, because nothing is going to come into the amount that it said in the grant that we wrote. But, you know, hindsight's 20/20. So we're hoping there is a possibility now that we've circled back to the more open bid process. We'll still only be able to pursue one bid at a time. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we can't just get a whole bunch of bids and open them all. Mm-hmm. It's not how VTrans wants us to do it. But we might get qualifications from one of the firms that has already submitted to us before. Mm-hmm. They could put it forward, and in that case, we could look at it. So I'm still confident that we'll find someone. It just probably won't come in at what we wanted for in the grant.
Go ahead.
It might show my naivety, but could you just go back to that first one?
Unfortunately, no. Vermont Department of Transportation has very clear rules about how their different processes work. Yeah, so we've been butting heads a little bit, and there are only so many concessions we can get.
Okay. So I guess we're continuing in a direction.
We're continuing in a direction.
Perfect.
Yep.
That all for new, old or unfinished business? Or?
Yep, that's all for me. If
Okay.
anyone else has anything.
Is there any other old or unfinished business?
I got one, an email came through about the Small Highway Safety Improvement Grant, which is the grant that we were awarded for work to be done on the intersection of North Pawlet Road and Route 30. And there's just been I think it seems like there's been some logistical backups from the issuing office, so that's just taking a little bit longer than anticipated, but there should be some more updates coming soon. But the hope originally was that we would have had the grant agreement, so we would have been able to progress with the tree removal portion during the colder months, because it was based on some of the tree people that we spoke to, it seemed like that would be the preferred time to do that work, but that's not probably going to happen, but hopefully we'll hear something soon. Let's turn that.
What about new business?
Well, I have one item that I wanted to bring up in new business. I would like to do a bit of research. And what I want to do research about is, so we've had this difficulty this fall with the fact that the library employees are kind of town employees, but not really, and our handbook doesn't cover them, but we pay them, and it's been confusing to a lot of people, and it's caused some conflict. And I know that there's been a little bit of discussion about this is a way that libraries in towns are often set up, but there are some other ways that libraries are set up. And I would like to do some research. I want to ask VLCT, basically, what are the different possible ways that towns deal with library employees? Is this the preferred way to go? Are there other ways to go? Are there towns where the library employees are actually town employees? Are there towns where the library is kind of its own entity? I mean, obviously this isn't a decision just for the select board to make, but it has affected us a lot this fall. So I thought if the select board doesn't mind me doing so, I might just reach out to VLCT to see what are, in Vermont, the different ways that people structure, that towns structure that kind of relationship.
Seems like a good idea to me. Information is always useful.
Yeah. And it would just be information gathering.
Yeah, I think that would be fine. Just find out what the options are, what other
Yeah.
towns do.
Exactly.
You know, maybe there's a structure that works really well, you know. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because it hasn't worked perfectly this year, so.
Right, there's two boards
Yeah.
involved and, yeah.
That's good. You okay with that, Bob? Great.
Right.
Thank you.
I don't know how long it'll take to look into it, but I'll just put out
See
some
what-
feelers with
See
VLCT.
what you can find. That would be excellent. Thank you. Is there any other new business? Public comment. Frank?
Yeah, I had a situation around tax time. This is a short story. And where I ended up in the hospital and I was fine, but they wanted to observe what was going on. But the deal is I got out on the 18th and I had time to go file some taxes in. And the federal government had changed the due date from the 18th to October 17th. And Vermont followed that for income tax. So I didn't have to rush to do that. But I called up the state and asked them if, what about the homestead filing? And I was told by a person, we had a linked phone call, I had to repeat herself, that there was an extension as well, like the income tax, to October 17th. And I said, well, that means I don't, just out of the hospital, I didn't have to run to the post office to do this. So I didn't, and then I filed it on time, according to that phone call, and I had to talk to Julie about it, because you guys had passed a 3% fine or something relative to late filing. But this would have meant I wasn't late, because it was moved to October 17th. And then I called up a week or so before to confirm this, because I'd been speaking with Julie, because Julie was going to contact them. And I got the same story from, so that's 3 separate tax department employees told me this. And then afterwards, my taxes were filed, everything was in, they issued me a thing, and then they said no. And apparently the people afterwards, and one of them was going to change the website, was telling me that we were discussing it, is that the state needed to change its website to acknowledge the change of the due date from 18th to 17th, which is still a due date for the homestead. So I was thinking, well, it was good, and then it wasn't. All of a sudden I found, and so I went up and had a meeting with the tax department staff, and they had recorded phone calls and went back on my phone calls and confirmed, and I have a note saying that they misinformed me of this. And so, but technically, the only way to get out of paying that fine for that late, supposedly late, but misinformed confusion thing was that I owe the town on that 3% or whatever it is. So Julie says, well, you have to go to abatement to see if they would free you with this, given the fact that you were informed by the Vermont State Tax Department that they had extended, along with the income tax, to October 17th, everything, including the homestead exemption, which wasn't in the law. That when they went to read it afterwards, and so now the staff up there have been informed of that fact. But that doesn't help when you're calling up and so I felt I was at fault there because I could have gotten it in the mail, other than the fact that this tax department staff told me that I didn't have to, because it was totally all it was moved back to October 17th, this following federal. So I was wondering if we can do an abatement thing on that, so I can have a hearing and maybe get freed up of paying a small amount of money that I owed technically on that 3% when I was misinformed, and the tax department confirms that I was misinformed. So I'm just wondering about that.
So do you have them?
Yeah, so Frank can go to Deb's office, and she'll get you an abatement book, and then look at the reasons for abatement in the book, and then make an appointment with her for abatement.
This wasn't a tax, this was the fine.
Right, but the only way that anything can be adjusted is through the abatement process.
That the rules, okay.
So,
there are specific reasons for abatement, and if it's something to do with the state, that's not one of the reasons.
okay.
And Sue's correct, that if you look at the abatement book, there are, I think, 6 or 7 reasons to abate taxes. And homestead declaration fines would not be one of them. But that's not to discourage anybody from coming to the Board of Abatement, but it may not be one of the reasons that the board can abate.
The taxes were paid on time. The full tax was paid on time. So it's not, it's a rebate from the town that would be a full rebate absent the fine.
You'll have to progress that through the abatement process, Frank, and that, because there's nothing we can do at this.
Great, and nothing's decided on, then I guess that the select board could decide because it's not in the rules.
Right, after we go through the abatement.
Great, okay. Thank you.
Anybody else have? Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm Nick Stark. I'm a planner from the Regional Planning Commission. I'm requesting to give a small presentation. I guess wires got crossed. If that is all right with you,
Sure.
Like 5 minutes. Any chance I could throw something up on the Zoom?
Sure. Are you on?
Yeah.
I can make you a co-host, and
Sure.
then you can.
I see you got your hand up, Harry. I'll get to you as soon as Nick's done, please.
Awesome.
I can try that. No, that's not great for everybody, but
It helps.
I'll move over here.
you guys okay over there?
That's much
A little better?
Yep.
You probably can't see anymore, can you?
Is it okay?
I think so. All right. So yeah, again, I'm Nick Stark. I'm a planner at the Rutland Regional Planning Commission. Here to talk to you about the 2026 regional plan, which is part of the process. Every 8 years, the Regional Planning Commission produces a new plan, which helps decide how we want to envision our region for the following 8 years. So we're really thinking about Rutland County 2034. What do we want to see? So it's a really fun process, just because it does kind of put you in a mindset that you don't think about every day. And we have a number of ways that we're engaging with the public, but the big ones are our survey, which you may have heard about. Pawlet is doing quite well in your numbers. We've hit 55%. We're aiming for 100%. That means 11 more people in Pawlet need to take our survey, and you get a gold star. So I, really strongly encourage you to fill it out. If you fill it out, you enter for a chance to win one of those fancy solo stoves for your, early spring bonfires. So do consider that. And here is a link. You can scan this. I think there should also be some flyers somewhere. Yeah, right up on the front table. So take one on your way out. And then the other way that we're engaging with folks that I see on here, we're doing pop-ups. So if you head to rutlandrpc.org/plan 2026, you can find all the places around the Rutland region that will be set up to answer your questions, get more input. And then lastly, we're doing a series of community open houses. So there's 5 of them. You should probably have them memorized, but I don't. They're also on the website.
The closest one's in Middletown Springs. I know that one.
Yes. Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, that is about it. Anyone have any questions? I know you all have gone through the planning process municipally. It's a similar process.
Yeah, what is the plan?
So the plan really dictates in large part, where we want to develop and where we want to preserve. So
What do you mean by develop? What do you mean? When you say develop, building?
Yeah, so Rutland County's like scary behind in terms of housing. So a big push, from the state level down is going to be where do we put all the housing that we need? And we actually have quite a bit of say over, like, do we want dense village cores or do we want New Jersey sprawl? And those are the kind of things that we want to make sure people hear loud and clear. And that's what we're hoping to hear from folks is, what's the future you envision for Pawlet and for the county as a whole? Super. And I also, before I run out of time, I also want to commend you all. This is a great select board meeting, like super well run. Like a lot of people. Like you're half the size of my town, and you have like 3 times as many people. So it's really healthy. I just wanted to give you all a thumbs up there.
No other questions. Thank you for coming down, Nick. We appreciate the presentation. And
thank you.
Hopefully you get some more people to jump on that survey.
11. I see 11 people. Greg's took it already. So.
Well, we have to go online for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I stop sharing?
Yes,
How do I
sorry.
put you out? Sorry.
Stop participants sharing.
Oh, where is it?
At the bottom.
There.
It's that red one.
You got it for it.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay, Harry, you have your hand up.
Yes, can you hear me?
Very well, good.
Okay, earlier in the meeting, I believe you renewed the contract for CAI-GIS mapping.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
The contracts in the past, I believe the deadline date for updating maps, if you have any interest in updating, if the planning commission wants to update anything, it's only done once a year, and it used to be April 1st. It's either April 1st or May 1st, but it's coming up. So if you want to update anything, now's the time to do it.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, there's one other thing I wanted to mention about that, and that is back in 2018, we did a program, a community program. It's called Community Values Mapping, which Frank would remember, John Sabatka knows there, and I think Mark might have been in a couple of sessions. It was put on by Monica Presbahart, and we had developed with her a number of maps indicating things that we felt as a community we would like to see maps for us. And she provided the maps for us, and I had left them with Jonas when I left. They were in his office, and when Nancy took over, I had taken them off the mounting boards that I had them on and rolled them up. So if anybody is interested in getting those maps in some sort of condition that they could go into the community mapping program and maybe eventually get into our next go-around with the town plan, I suggest that they do that at this time. And that's it.
Thank you. Charlie?
Aren't those maps in the town plan?
No, those are different maps. I believe that in the past, these maps have been on the town website from the Community Values Mapping Project. I don't recall exactly which page they were on, but I've seen them by going on the website.
Oh, that must be where it's on.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Marty?
Yeah, as a follow-up to the Rutland Planning Commission, I had spoken this past week with Jessica. I have a contractor developer who's potentially interested in taking a look at the Dutchie store property with an eye toward affordable housing or mixed use country store plus apartment units there. And as you are aware, the foundation is new and unused, but it's been infilled with dirt that can be excavated. Jessica did mention that there are questions about the need for another sludge tank for the sewage treatment plant, and the property could be subdivided at the town's wishes. So I'd appreciate it if the town gives some consideration to that, because the contractor that I spoke with, he's an ex-resident of West Pawlet. He has a construction company. He's doing multifamily housing right now in Manchester. And it would fit in very neatly with the state's demand for more affordable housing. And there is a database of drawings already there, the ones that I had prepared some time ago for the owners of Dutchie's store, which showed a commercial use on the main floor and then apartments below, but also potentially apartments above. So if the town has an interest, if you'd like to get back to me, I could bring the person out to look at the property.
My feeling right now, we've been in the process of trying to develop a better system for the town wastewater so that we can maintain the cost, and that would require a sludge holding facility, and we also need the access that goes all the way across the back of that property to Egg Street, because we don't have adequate access. We're just using it. Ray is good enough to let us cross his property to do what we need to do in the event that anything changed hands or whatever, and that was no longer an option. We'd have to come from the other way, so that would leave very little usable space to do anything with that property is my largest concern. And
well, it's, we've done affordable housing projects with building footprint only or with minimal front, side, and rear yard setbacks, and that's something the town can pretty much regulate on its own. The zoning board here can determine what works for the town.
And I'll just add that in our current bylaw update that we're working on, in the village and commercial zone, which encompasses that part of West Pawlet and the center of Pawlet, we are planning to significantly decrease the setbacks that are required. Because, think about West Pawlet Village Center. Why does somebody need to be 30 feet back from the road? Most of the buildings aren't. So we're thinking in that area of trying to significantly increase the buildable plot.
that would be allowed.
I have done several projects in much more stringent communities where the affordable housing entity owns the building footprint alone and nothing else. And the municipality had ownership of all the rest. So this is something you can give some consideration to because you've got a lot of latitude yourselves in what would work for you. But if you can make the expansion of the sewage treatment plant, work with potential housing, or I know that there is a desire in West Pawlet to have some kind of community store named Place Dutchess, which has been going for some time. This is an opportunity to look at something that would be beneficial on both ends.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that information with us, and we'll consider this information as we progress with this project.
Would you like me to add that? Give everybody time to digest it, add it to the next agenda?
Yeah, Marty called me up and I gave him the best information that I had about it, but I knew that we wanted to save part of that lot to be used for potential wastewater plant expansion, but I don't personally know how big that would have to be. I don't know if we were looking at like 20 feet, 15 feet. I didn't have any information about that.
You'd have to do a serious review of the lot before we could do anything, because the sewer plant can never be anywhere else, but affordable housing can be other places. So, anybody else have anything for the good?
I just have one thing that was on my table here. There was a letter that came from Vermont Elevator Inspection Services, Inc., which I believe is the company that we use now for the elevator. And they're offering discounted agreements for annual inspection services for a term of our choice. So I'm not sure where we're at currently, so my thought was I could ask, I know Julie's quite busy right now, but seeing if between now and the next meeting, Julie might be able to take a look at these numbers and see if it would be of benefit to pursue any of these as opposed to what we're currently doing.
Yeah, I think Julie would have the most valuable input on that. So if you don't mind, that would be great.
Put that on, yes.
After tax due date.
I know, like in all of her spare time.
After tax, even. Is there any other public comment? Marty?
Yeah, on the subject of, have you anything to further update us on? I understand that the attorney representing the library board has changed, and as I understand it, his firm was recommended by the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. So I'm curious, who's paying for this?
Quite honestly, we have discussed it with our lawyer, and we really need to be very tight-lipped about it, the whole situation itself. And at this point, we don't have any public comment.
I understand what you're saying, and I understand the need for you to be tight-lipped, but there are some areas of this that the public still has a right to know about. And one of those is, well, the first one was, who's the lawyer going to be? And it took forever to find that out. And then, who was paying for the lawyer? And then the lawyer was changed. But the public still has a right to know, is this being paid for by tax dollars? Because that's not something that you really have the discretion of being tight-lipped about. You can
your opinion is, this is all noted in the records. Don't worry, we're not doing anything that's not above board, but this is the situation that we're in, and we're not making any comment on it.
I'm not suggesting doing anything that's not above board. I'm just saying that there are a lot of people in town that...
And I'm just saying that we've been advised not to make any comment on this. Okay?
Can you tell me who advised you? Was it the town's attorney or was it the library's attorney?
the town's attorney.
Do you see a future date at which this matter is going to go public? Because it's still.
Of course, it'll all come out. What's that? Yeah. Anybody else have anything for public comment? My motion?
To enter executive session to
Executive session.
discuss
I'll
labor
make that
relations
motion.
agreements with employee.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Right. So we're moving into executive session, and when we come out, we will end the meeting. Thank you all for coming tonight.